Hello and welcome to another current conversation on Project Falcon Punch. I am your host Dan, and with me today my two lovely co-hosts are Alex.
Hello.
And also Andrew.
Hello.
So as you are probably well aware, looking by the title of this video, we're going to be talking about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, the direct we recently just had, like a couple of days ago as the time of recording this. And so we now know all of the fighters that are going to be in the base game, as well as a free downloadable character even, and also some DLC characters later down the line. We're going to be talking about all the characters that are the new playable characters, and also what we think are going to be DLC characters and what we think maybe should be DLC characters. But before we get to that, we'll just actually give our sort of brief summary on what we think about the recent direct, whether we enjoyed it, whether we thought it was disappointing because of the whole like supposed Grinch leak thing that happened. That, you know, I'm not going to say I told you so, but I for a long time thought that was complete bullshit.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll go into did we enjoy the overall direct. So Andrew, do you want to start off? Did you enjoy the direct?
Well, in all honesty, I didn't actually feel incredibly hyped to begin with. I haven't followed this game as much as most people, but I was interested, and I've got a little bit bored during it, if I'm being brutally honest.
Yeah, it was a long direct, wasn't it?
Yeah, it felt like it was longer than perhaps it needed to be. So I was looking forward to the character announcements at the start, but then throughout it, you know, it spent a lot of time dedicated to that spirits thing. And in terms of what I think of that spirits thing, I'm a bit sort of 50-50 on it, because whilst it has that noble idea behind it, and there might be potential to it, and you know, I won't badmouth it right now because you know I could end up playing it and loving it. I feel potentially it's a bit overly complicated, and you know, they spent ages talking about it, and you think, were they talking about it for ages, just dragging it out, or did they have to talk about it for that long because it needs to be spoken about for that long? That's how potentially unnecessarily complicated it is.
There's obviously people out there that probably loved every second of this direct. I think a lot of people probably didn't, for obvious reasons, like the fact that they're going into talking about options, like in an online video about language options. It's just like, why are we talking about this? This really does not need to be here.
When you look at the chat box as we're building up to it, what people are hyped for, and then you see that.
It's the typical Nintendo Direct cycle, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Alex, what's your opinions on the overall Direct?
Now, going into it, after the whole Grinch leak, that was soaring our expectations really, really high. I was having neutral feelings going into it, so I'll just take whatever comes my way. The characters weren't what I expected, but I am fascinated by them. I think this Direct could have been condensed down shorter, and we'd still get the point. That'd be like going about 1 minute into the Chronicle section of Brawl, because, you know, everyone wants to know video games in the past 20 years, just a list of it and all.
Yeah, like it's the sort of thing that you'd rather just discover with the game itself, right? You don't. This doesn't need to be on an online video.
It's like when the final Smash Direct happened for Smash Wii U. We had about 3 new characters and a bunch of DLC. That was like 30 minutes, but we were still hyped for the whole thing because we were still absorbing anticipation. But then after the characters, when they said that was the final character, there was like, oh well, there's not much to expect. I mean, here's some options.
For sure. I think I can only echo what we've already said and what you two have already said. The Direct did not need to be 40 minutes. What they announced was cool, what they showed off was cool, but there was loads of flab and stuff that I just don't think that just didn't need to be there, and I just think it overall had this huge high at the beginning, you had this massive low in the middle, and then a huge high at the end.
Yeah, and as for that huge high, that would be in the Spirits, the single player they revealed at the end. Now, on one hand, I was a bit saddened that there's no trophies left, because that was one of the biggest draws of a lot of Smash Bros for me.
I saw that was my main driving force. Like every single Smash Brothers game is collecting every single trophy and looking at them all, looking at all their little bios, having a look, and now they're just JPEGs. Like, sure, I understand the reasoning because of like it takes a lot more development time to make these cool looking trophies, but also having the text next to them as well was just another like sort of another extra cool thing. That if they're not in these new games or this new game, I'm gonna be very disappointed because that was where I spent most of my time.
Oh yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, this Spirits Adventures, I think, is an okay compromise considering how they're used.
Just doesn't feel as rewarding.
I agree with you. It's not going to be as rewarding to get one of these spirits rather than it would have been when it come to the actual trophies. Alex, you said this earlier as well, before we started recording. This is one of those things that I think maybe we'll wait until to make full judgment on, so we actually have the full game, because you never know, this sort of stuff could be just as rewarding. You don't know this because we don't know how frequent you're going to get them, how cool they're going to be. be. So yeah, the actual mode itself is like a combination, for me at least on paper, it's like a combination of adventure mode from Melee and Subspace Emissary from Brawl. On paper, getting the best of both worlds from both of them, where it's got these cool sort of events from the adventure mode, but also it's got the cool story mode and the cutscenes of Subspace, but not the horribly tedious gameplay that Subspace had in all the platforming stuff. Also, the Subspace, I think going back to it now, is quite jarring when you look at a lot of characters like Snake, who is traditionally a very talkative character in his games, and then in those he just doesn't speak. So seeing they've actually got voice acting in these cutscenes now, I think it's really, really cool.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like the fan service of the Subspace Emissary, and that was one of the best parts of the mode, because you just wanted to see these Nintendo characters unrelated to each other just interact.
Yes.
That was like what made it worth playing.
Yeah, like it was cool to fight like Rayquaza, for example, but to fight like these weird Kingdom Hearts-esque mechs, like why are these in this game? Like that was dumb.
I can't remember the last time I played Subspace Emissary.
Yeah, like do you remember the very memorable villain of Taboo?
Oh yeah, I love it.
Why was he a thing? I think we'll move on now we'll go through every single new fighter that's been introduced into this new game, and we'll give our little sort of summary on the characters and what we think. So bearing in mind when the game was first announced, it was a fucking awesome reveal trailer for a new Smash Brothers game.
It was so good that we made a whole current conversation video about it.
You did. It was like 40 minutes long.
I know, I mean, it was like 10 minutes for the Smash Bros section alone, but that was insane when I saw that.
Yeah, Inkling, in case you can't tell, that's who we're talking about. Inkling is the squid Inklings, the male-female variety. I honestly am really pleased that they're in this. This was always a hope that they're going to be DLC characters in Smash 4, but I think it was too far along at that point to really introduce those characters. Kind of, I feel like this is what happened with ARMS characters, is why we were probably not seeing Springman in it, because it's a game that I feel like it's been too recent. A lot of these characters have been long set in stone, that by the time ARMS came out, I don't think that it was possible to put them in the game. Who knows, but I guess, Alex, what's your opinions on the Inklings?
I am super happy the Inklings are in, because from the start, they were my most wanted Nintendo newcomers. I also played them at MCM London the other week,
yes.
And it kind of plays a bit like Mega Man in the sense where I probably love them the more I play as them, but at first it's a little bit very, very different from the usual fighters. But that's not a bad thing. I mean, if anything, it's like the kind of thing that fascinates you to trying out the Inkling even further.
Yeah, I mean, I never actually played the first Splatoon, but Splatoon 2 I do have on the Switch, and I really, really enjoy that game. I think Inklings are a good choice. While Splatoon, I know it's not a fighting game, just obviously the competitive nature of it. I think Nintendo made obviously an appropriate choice for a new fighter there.
I just think that they're going to be very interesting. Like Alex said, like they're very different fighters. They're not going to be more traditional sort of things, which is cool, because it's a bit like when I first played Bayonetta in Smash 4. Playing as Bayonetta, you actually get the feeling that you are playing as Bayonetta, not just as a character that looks like Bayonetta in Smash.
Oh yes.
The way that her fighting style was very much like her own character. Then after that, they revealed I think it was E3, yeah, of course it was, they revealed Ridley, which, I mean, the long-running meme.
The debate is over. He is not too big.
It's quite a dark trailer where he's like sort of killed Mario, didn't he?
So, as a character, like, I think he just looks like a very aggressive character as well. Like, as you say, Andrew, like, even the trailer, it was depicting him as quite a vicious character, and I think that he shows in just his fighting style. So, I mean, I really want to play as him. He's one of my favourites to want to play as.
It's strange seeing him that small, because I'm so used to seeing him as really, really big.
Yeah, I mean, he was the same size as Samus in Metroid 1, wasn't he, I guess? So.
He was the same size to Metroid. I'm so used to seeing him as like his giant form, especially when he's like Meta Ridley in the Metroid Prime games. I'm glad as well in this that you can actually have his Meta Ridley costume, can't you?
Yeah, that's really cool. I do like
in
that.
Smash. I really like the fact that they included that. I mean, it's just good to see him in Smash Bros as well.
Yeah, another Metroid rep, which is cool, because we've not, except for like Zero Suit Samus, we've not actually had a proper new Metroid character since the original game. You've played as him, right, Alex, at the MCM Expo?
Ridley and Inkling were the only two new characters to play as, so needless to say, I played as him, and if I had to sum up, it felt a bit like a buff Charizard, as in, like, you know, where he's a big character, he's quite slow but powerful. Whereas Ridley, I don't think slow's kind of the word to use when controlling him. He was just as agile as other characters, but he still had the same powerfulness as Charizard. Like, his recovery is almost like Charizard. I'm, like, just as excited for him as Inkling.
Right, so then after that, I think it was in the same, it was in E3, wasn't it? So it was right, no, it wasn't. It was
in August.
Yeah, this was in August, right, so when they revealed Simon Belmont from Castlevania, I'll just say now, I've only really played the first Castlevania, or the first two, I guess. It was on the, I played it on the NES Mini. That's the only time I've ever had any experience of Castlevania. I don't play the series, so I don't really have any connection with him as a character, but looking at him and his fighting style, I think he looks really cool. Like, having a character with a whip, it's a completely different different fighting style to anyone else out there, which, you know, I think makes a lot of sense. He's an old school legacy Nintendo character at this point. I know he's Konami, but you get what I'm saying.
I would say the same thing as Dan at this point. I've had very little experience with Castlevania, so I can't sort of say how much I love his inclusion and the fact that I know him very well as a character. But as you say, Dan, I think he looks really cool in terms of his moveset, the fact that he has a whip.
Honestly, I have to echo what you guys say. I have had no experience of Castlevania, so I can't really say how faithful he is based on the trailers and based on what we've seen. But considering Sakurai's previous efforts in making characters control like themselves, I take it that Simon Belmont's going to be just as good as we want him to be in his inclusion.
I think this was in this same direct, right? This was at the end of the trailer, or the end of the direct. Sorry, that's up to the Smash direct. Was when they revealed King K. Rool. He is, along with Ridley and a couple other characters, he was like one of the most requested characters for Smash. So good to see, like, not only a villain for Donkey Kong finally, which is what they kind of alluded to at the beginning of that trailer when they revealed him. The music as well that went with it. I just love everything about his reveal.
They did it really well.
It's so good. It's so, and even his like character, the way that his belly is like sort of the armor plating, like how he was originally designed in the original Donkey Kong Country. It's stuff like that is just so cool.
Yeah.
Even has like his pirate attire from DKC2. He has the propeller jetpack thing from DKC3. There's like they've included everything about him from all of his past, including even his final smashes from the game over screen of Donkey Kong 64. Like, I love him. He's so cool.
I think they've nailed it, essentially. It's definitely my most anticipated, I think.
Yes,
because the Donkey Kong Country trilogy is amongst like my favourite Super Nintendo games.
Inkling is my favourite inclusion to Smash Ultimate. King K. Rool's my second favourite. I have wanted King K. Rool for such a long time, and I am super glad that he's in. He's a heavyweight, he's a villain, it's a Donkey Kong rep. What is not to like about this? And his moveset, it just looks so promising, and it's so much fun to play as. So yeah, I am very, very hyped for King K. Rool.
I like his design as well. It's like the sort of same appearance, just like this modern aesthetic that Smash Brothers does. Like, they take these like cartoony designs, but they give them this sort of, it's a strange term, more realistic.
They modernise the character, I guess.
They've done it less in more recent games.
Yeah, like it is modernised, but not completely reworked him or anything.
But it looks really good. I think they've done a really good job, so I hope it lives up to that hype.
Yeah, definitely. Then the next revealed trailer was Isabel from Animal Crossing, a character that I know that has been, for some people, a long sought after character. I'm a huge Animal Crossing fan. If someone said to me, there's going to be another Animal Crossing rep, what would I choose? Isabel may not be my first, but then seeing Isabel now, I'm like, it makes a lot of sense, because Isabel's like the new face of Animal Crossing, I feel like. And I think that her playstyle is basically villager, but different, which is cool. It's like she's kind of like how Luigi is to Mario, sort of like, she has a similar sort of moveset, but she has her own unique aspects as well.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense to put Isabel in as a new Animal Crossing rep, because, like you say, Isabel's like the mascot to Animal Crossing these days. I think it used to be Tom Nook or the Villager, but now it's Isabel because she's everywhere. So at first I thought she was a clone to Villager, but she's her own character, and I'm happy that she made it in.
As for me, I haven't played an Animal Crossing game since the one on Wii.
Oh, she wasn't in there, was she?
Yeah, that's how unfamiliar I am. I can't even remember the name of it now.
Let's Go to the City.
It had a different name.
Yeah, in the US it was City Folk.
Yeah, as a fighter it looks cool, but I really can't give an opinion in terms of on the character, because I just don't know anything about Animal Crossing.
Fair enough.
Aside from that, if I'm being brutally honest now. When she was announced, I was just like, who's that? Because I say I'm really just not familiar with the series, but as a fighter it looks very good, yeah.
It was cool how they just went into, oh, by the way, there's also an Animal Crossing coming out on the Switch in 2019.
Yeah.
That was also a cool bonus. And then recently at the Directs, there's the one obviously that just happened, with the first actual new character was Incineroar. And I'll just say this now, looking at Incineroar's moveset, like seeing him actually fight, he's really, really interesting, completely different. Well, I say completely different. He's fairly differently from most characters. I like the way that he throws characters, I'll say he, like Incineroar can technically be a male or female, but whatever. Can throw people against ropes that appear out of nowhere, and when they come back, if you time your attack, you can knock them flying. If you don't, they'll hit into you. So it's like a risk-reward sort of system with his attack system. He looks like quite a technical character to me. But honestly, when I think about the Sun and Moon evolutions, the starters, I'm like, Decidueye, Primarina. I'm like, Primarina, like that's my favourite. Decidueye is also really cool looking, but he's in Pokken Tournament.
Yeah.
I don't know where I sit with Incineroar. I think as a character in Smash, he's awesome, but as a Pokemon, I'm not really that keen on him. But, whatever. Each their own, I guess.
When Ken was fighting the newcomer, I was expected to see Springman because I wanted Springman into Smash. No, I was seeing flames. I was like, wait a minute, who is this?
Yeah, as soon as I saw the eyes in the shadows, I was like, oh, it's Incineroar, because that was obviously a rumoured character as well.
And I was like, oh, it's Incineroar, not Decidueye, because the thing is that as a Pokemon Gen 7 rep, they were expected Decidueye.
I liked how it looks as a fighter, really, because I mean, I haven't been following much of the rumours or the predictions, so when I saw the flaming eyes, I didn't know what to think, because, I haven't, as I say, I haven't been following any of the rumours, so I wouldn't have known if there were rumours of Incineroar or whatever. Seeing its, like, moveset actually does sort of see more why they sort of chose it, sort of its wrestling nature, I guess. And it does look like a really cool fighter. It seems like an odd choice for a Pokemon, it's like a random pick.
I'm wondering if from a Pokemon point of view, they wanted Incineroar to be this generation's version of Greninja, where it's going to be like the more powerful Pokemon in the anime, perhaps. They want it to be like the face of that generation of Pokemon. I don't know whether that's actually going to be a thing in the anime or not. I know Ash has a Litten. I think he's actually evolved it since, but I imagine he probably will have an Incineroar at some point.
Like Dad, Primarina was my favourite starter in Pokemon Sun and Moon. I think Incineroar is a refreshing change from having Decidueye be, the predicted pick.
As opposed to the Grinch leak thing, which was as soon as Incineroar was revealed, it was like, oh, the Grinch leak is fake. It's like,
yeah.
My biggest thing against that whole leak to begin with was, you really think they were going to have a new Smash Brothers game without any new Pokemon? And that was always my main hang-up on that, on those rumours, was they're going to have a new Pokemon. So whether it was like that Zeraora, whatever it is, that new electric cat thing, which I thought it could be that. It could be Decidueye, but obviously it's Incineroar.
I don't even know much about the Grinch leak to begin with. So like, there was all these people arguing about it. I was just sat there like...
Not knowing about it, Andrew, is probably the best thing, honestly, you could have done.
I sort of briefly read about it, but everyone was arguing. I was just sort of sat there in the distance like, what's going on?
That's why I was going into this direct all neutral, because even though I wanted some of them to be true, it's going to be the Rayman leak all over again from 3 years ago.
Yeah. So that is basically the base roster in terms of actual new characters. Obviously, there's the new DLC character that's coming out, the Piranha Plant, and how that thing was revealed. Like, what the fuck? Who the hell saw this thing coming?
The Piranha Plant, I'm not kidding, that was honestly the most of laughter during a character reveal, because I was just like, is this real?
It's the most Sakurai thing to end on, honestly.
He is like the best troll.
He totally is. And like, I was sitting there thinking, do you know what? I've always wanted PT Piranha as a character. He's in his final Smash, which is cool, but like, I'm not gonna sit here and go, no, I didn't get what I wanted. But at the same time, I'll look to the final Smash like, oh, but it could have actually just been PT Piranha. But even then, who the fuck cares? He looks like a really unique character to play as. So like, that's honestly is the coolest thing for me, is just to see a character that isn't just another character with a sword. Oh, here's another Fire Emblem character that can swing a sword. Like, oh god, no more sword characters, please.
Piranha Plant, I think could be a solid inclusion to Super Smash Bros. I mean, no one asked for it, but at the same time, I trust Sakurai with this. He's going to make it a really fun character.
Yeah, it seems some people ask for surprises, but then moan when they get it, and only want what they keep demanding. Like, for example, people keep demanding Waluigi.
For sure.
When we get these like unique surprises that can actually turn out really good, all people do is get angry about it.
So instead of Gino or Waluigi, we get the Piranha Plant. I mean, yeah, I know it's not the one you asked for, but honestly, it could be a character we didn't know we wanted.
I liked how, with some of his movesets are like nods back to other games, like for example, Paper Mario 2.
Yes.
You see the bit where he turns into Future Piranha.
I remember when you pointed that out to me, as you said that happened, I was like, oh yeah, that's a really good nod to that, yeah. Other than the new fighters, we obviously have the Echo fighters, the new inclusions of Daisy, Dark Samus, Chrom from Fire Emblem, Richter from Castlevania, and Ken from Street Fighter. So there's like 5 new Echo fighters along with 2 old characters in Lucina and Dark Pit. Rather than going through all these Echo characters, because we know their movesets from other characters we've already talked about or already in the game, we'll just say what our favourite Echo fighter is. So Andrew, do you want to start with what your favourite Echo fighter is?
I'll probably just go for Dark Samus. It's really cool seeing Dark Samus there. Yeah.
I've always wanted her as a character, and it's so fitting. Dark Samus is an Echo fighter of Samus.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, it's the most fitting of all of them, I think.
Yeah.
It's like a really good antagonist in the second and third Prime games.
Oh, for sure.
Just a really suitable fighter for Smash Brothers, having a similar moveset to Samus.
I'll just echo you as well, no pun intended, that Dark Samus is my favourite Echo fighter as well. I think that it's cool that we finally see Dark Samus. Alex, what's your favourite Echo Fighter?
Dark Samus is my second favourite. As for my favourite, I gotta be honest, it has to be Chrom, because when Lucina was announced back in 2014, we were fully expecting Chrom to be the blue-haired Fire Emblem swordsman, but no, it's Lucina.
Yeah.
And then Chrom got the short end of the stick by being Robin's final Smash. So now that we see Chrom finally make it to Smash, Richter and Ken, I don't know much about them, but it's cool to see them in.
Yeah.
And Daisy, I don't care about Daisy, but whatever.
Daisy was sort of discount Daisy was in Melee. I'm not sure if it was in Brawl, where you could just like change Peach's costume.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Peach has always had that costume change.
Or was in Brawl, you could just literally just change her, and she would just sort of be like, as I say, discount Daisy. But I guess it took them a little bit too long to have Daisy in there in a way.